Hello, my name is Luke Cooper. Today is May 10th, 2026, and I am interviewing Jennifer Cooper, also known as my mom. My topic is narcissism, and my research question is, how does narcissism shape interpersonal communication and relationships? Do I have permission to record?
Yes.
Could you briefly tell us about the relationship you were in with your father?
My father was a teenager when I was born. He lived at home with me and my mom, married until I was 2.5 years old. And then he moved out, they got a divorce, and I saw him approximately once a year until I was about 13 years old. And then he started being more a part of my life because my mom was having trouble and asked for help. So I was staying with him off and on, and then when I was about to be 14, he had me move in with him, and I lived with him until I was 18 when I got my own apartment and moved out on my own. He was married for the third time, so he lived with my stepmom during that time, and then afterwards got divorced from her and lived alone. And we had a strong father-daughter relationship. Like, he was a big part of my life until I was about 44, maybe.
How would you describe the way he communicated compared to a healthier parent relationship?
He talked at me more than to me, so his conversations with me were usually for him to tell me about what was going on with him or how he felt about something, and rarely was a two-way communication path. And it was typically, if he was upset about something, then it was silent treatment in the midst of a conversation. So it wasn't silent treatment where he walked out of the room and the conversation was over. It was silent treatment where I was expected to stay part of the conversation and try to pull him, or apologize or pull him back in.
How do you think that affected the relationship?
It was very stressful for me, and it left me being very anxious about relationships and very anxious about making sure that I did the things that he required in order to maintain the relationship. It always felt like the relationship was very hinged on me behaving a certain way. So if it always felt very precarious, like I could only have this relationship with him if I behaved in these exact ways, and if I didn't, then he might cut me off at any moment.
Interview question number 2. If you wanted to express that he was doing something frustrating, like using all the hot water for a hot shower, how did his narcissistic traits affect the way you expressed yourself?
I don't think I would have felt like while I was living in his house, I don't think I would have felt comfortable telling him that he used all the hot water and that it impacted me. I wasn't allowed to touch the thermostat because he paid for the heat and the air conditioning, so he put it at the level that he wanted it at. So if he would have used up all the hot water, I would have just taken a cold shower. And I don't think I would have felt comfortable being allowed to tell him that he had done something wrong. It usually was not well received. I don't think I ever was able to communicate dissatisfaction with his behavior. That wasn't even that wasn't something that was like welcome in our relationship.
Interview question number 3. How did your communication with him change as you got older? So like before you cut off contact.
I would try to talk about other things or divert the conversation to make it not completely centered around him. So as we had more people welcomed into our life and, new family members that weren't a part of his world, and so then he had to welcome them in, it was like I could see the fractures in his personality and in his ability to I like when I got outside of his orbit and my world expanded, I realized how broken our relationship was,
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, say the question again. Make sure I'm going in the right.
How did it affect the way? Oh no.
Oh, how
sorry.
did
How did your communication with him change as you got older?
So as I started having more people, and then I had my own opinions that were outside of what. Then sometimes if I expressed opinions that differed from his, then he felt challenged or he would belittle, So sometimes I would press with things that I thought, as I had my own career and my own, life and things like that, then I would express my own point of view, but it usually wasn't like, it was usually met with like ridicule, like feeling like my politics had something to do with me thinking something, wasn't appropriate to say or do that would hurt a different person, or something like that. I felt like it was more of a political thing.
Interview question number 4. What did you not feel safe or doing or saying with him?
I couldn't tell him how I felt about something, or I couldn't offer advice to him and I definitely could never say no. And I wasn't allowed to not answer the phone or not respond to his like requests for attention. So it wasn't safe I got very upset if I missed his phone call or if he called more than once or if he texted more than once, because I knew he was going to be angry that I hadn't written back or called him or answered the phone. That was what he really hated, was if I didn't answer the phone. And I had my phone on silent a lot of the time, so it would happen here and there. And then also I worked in a place where I wasn't allowed to have my phone, so it would be in a locker, and he would get angry because throughout the day he would try to call me while I was at work and I didn't answer the phone. And he felt like that was intentional.
Trying to ignore him?
Yeah, so then I would call him while I was on my way home, and my way home was 45 minutes, and he would just talk about himself the whole 45 minutes while I was on the phone on the way home. And he would talk about himself, and then I would pull in the driveway and say I had to go because I have to go inside and make dinner and hang out with my family and stuff like that. And he would be angry that I had to get off the phone. Jealous of you and Dad.
Interview question number 5. How did your relationship with him shape the way you communicate in your own relationships today?
For a long time, attracted narcissistic people to me. So my friendships, like the friendships that were following that same pattern, felt familiar to me, and so they were the ones that I was the most attracted to. If somebody was a love bomber, that's what a narcissist does in the beginning of a relationship. They try to be super friendly to somebody or be overwhelmingly, exciting and fun in the beginning of a relationship so that people fall in love with them, or not fall in love with them romantically, but they think they're wonderful. That's what narcissists typically do. And so I would be attracted to those kind of people in friendships and just in general. And I think I was anxious about my friendships, like making sure that I contacted people, and I was less self-assured and not as concerned about my own needs as a result in communication with people. Try to guess what people wanted from me and try to provide that, because growing up and being around my dad, like the way that I did things was to try and placate him, to make sure that he wouldn't get angry. And so I think I did that a lot in my other relationships and in my other communication, try to guess what people are thinking and how they're feeling, so that I could circumvent like the silent treatment or the anger, like, let me do something real quick so that I make you feel better, so that you won't be angry, or so that I don't make you upset with me. And do I think what? Do I think he's a bad person?
Dad's a bad person.
I think he's really insecure. He's very selfish, very insecure, and so self-absorbed. Like, I just don't think there's room for him to be a good person, He thinks very differently than me, like as far as like how to treat people and how to behave. So I feel like some of the things he does to people and some of the ways that he acts towards people are cruel, There are good things about him. I think his insecurity and his narcissism probably comes from somewhere, something bad that happened to him growing up too, But there isn't anything I can do to change the way that he acts towards me. So the only avenue that I could see to make it better is to not allow the behavior that he was showing, Put my foot down.
Do you think it was intentional?
What, his behavior?
Yeah.
Yes, because always in the past, his behavior has always resulted in me doing whatever it was that he wanted. Yeah, so always, like throwing a temper tantrum and getting angry and things like that would result in him getting his way. So I think that was intentional. I don't know. I think he believes that he's in the right. I don't know if he can look around and see that he alienated everyone in his family, not just me. I was like one of the last, He has 5 brothers and sisters, and he only speaks to one of them. Like, he doesn't talk to any of the rest of his very big family, So he used to have a huge family and a big support system, and then he just kind of threw all of that away by being angry and setting rules for everybody, and people gradually got sick of it, And I was second to last. His sister has hung in there, but she's got the patience of an angel, I feel like. She also doesn't have to live with him. She can choose whether she wants to be around him or not,
Interview question number 6. What advice would you give to someone who is going through this type of relationship?
I would set boundaries, like stand firm in your boundaries, learn how to set them early, and don't be taken advantage of. Realize what your requirements are for a relationship, and make sure that you're negotiating. It's a two-way street. You're allowed to have your own thoughts in a relationship and your own feelings, and you're allowed to express those thoughts and feelings, and just protect your own self in your relationship. Make sure that you're not completely throwing your own thoughts out the window.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.